Tensions between North Korea and everybody else seem to be increasing by the minute. I want to talk about this. We had something else planned for this segment, but I wanted to talk about North Korea, so let's do it. This is a situation in which I believe now, and I want to tell you why in this segment, is about a 50-50 chance of a shooting war. First of all, here's the North Korean package. Here's what we have in terms of their statements.
The latest threat from North Korea, attacks by a smaller, lighter, and diversified nuclear force. It also came with a warning that the moment of explosion is approaching fast. Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel says North Korea's threats have to be taken seriously.
Some of the actions they've taken over the last few weeks present a real and clear danger and threat to the interests, certainly, of our allies.
Former Secretary of State Madeleine Albright says this move is a show of power for North Korea's new leader.
Because Kim Jong-un, the new leader, is trying to gain control and make clear to his own people that he's in charge, especially the military. He also is somebody that I think is playing this kind of provocative game.
But some observers say North Korea is years away from being able to create a nuclear warhead and will not act on their threats.
North Korea's crazy, but they're not suicidal. The Kim family business, they want that to continue, so they'll make a lot of noise, but I don't think that they're going to jump off the cliff.
But some experts say while the U.S. should not entertain North Korea's threats, it should be ready to respond if needed.
You have to be absolutely resolute because the North Koreans, if you give them an inch, they will take the proverbial mile.
I'm Ed Payne reporting.
All right, so that's what happened as of this morning, but let's break this down a little bit. The North Koreans are run by a hereditary dictatorship. The current Kim, and that's their family name, goes first, Kim. The current Kim is the grandson of the Kim who started the Korean War back in 1950. In those days, that Kim said, look, after World War II, the communists wanted to unify all of Korea, but it was divided after World War II between South and North. The communists had the North, the Americans had the South. So the Kim, the grandfather, said, we're going to invade and take it all, if you remember the Korean War history. The Chinese didn't want him to do it. They had just come to power, the Chinese Communist Party. The Russians didn't want to do it. But Kim's grandfather said, look, I'm going to invade, and the only thing you can do is support me. So the puppet lost his strings. Is it happening again? Because again, the feeling is China manipulates, they control North Korea with all the power, all the food, all the stuff that they get in North Korea comes from China. So the Chinese have, as an agent provocateur, North Korea constantly sticking a stick in Uncle Sam's eye in Japan and South Korea and so forth to keep them off balance in China's interest. But what if young Kim says, I want to be like my grandfather. I want to be a hero. I want to unify all of Korea under this wonderful communist dictatorship of ours. And all you can do in China and Russia is simply back me up, because once I cross the line, you're not going to let me be annihilated by the Americans. The guy's 28 years old. Here's, by the way, former Governor Richardson of New Mexico made a lot of trips to North Korea, knows a lot about them and from the Clinton administration and so forth. Here's what he had to say about this.
The danger is not a war with the United States or South Korea, I think. The danger is some kind of military altercation in the Yellow Sea, a naval skirmish of some kind.
That skirmish could happen either at sea, one of those small islands like it did last year at this time, where the North Koreans shelled a South Korean island. This is a little bit of what we need to do and what Obama is doing. The president is moving these forces into the Pacific, missile shields particularly to protect Honolulu and Guam and the South Koreans. Here's what Spaywar, for instance, is doing. They have, that's obviously out of San Diego, they have been tasked for years now to set up this missile shield, which is comprised of missiles that are coming off of ships like this, missiles that are being coordinated from satellites, missiles that are being placed, anti-missile missiles that are being placed on land, and of course a lot of other assets, as you see here, that would be available to hopefully deter the North Koreans. But if the North Koreans start shooting, either at sea, as Governor Richardson said, or on the land, or at one of these islands, then what is going to be the response? Now, this is the final tripwire that really got me concerned. Is there's an industrial complex just over the line in North Korea that the South Koreans have been filling with industry so that the Kim dynasty gets some money. They've been saying, look, have peace with us because we can put an industrial plant in. It's called the Kaesong complex. And we'll have some South Korean workers to help you train your workers. Mostly it'll be North Koreans. They'll get jobs. You'll get money out of it. You want to keep the border open to do this. They have closed the Kaesong complex as of yesterday, and that's a very dangerous sign that Kim is thinking about war. Now, what do I think might happen? And I have no particular expertise, but do a lot of reading. The Koreans, the North Koreans don't have a big missile complex. They're not able to reach the United States as they threaten to do. They might be able to reach, however, with their current missile technology and with a nuclear device, Honolulu. Now, why is that important? Because all of the military assets the United States has in the Pacific Ocean are governed out, are governed out of the various military complexes in Honolulu, Pearl Harbor, etc. If there's they don't have to hit it, by the way. All they have to do is explode a bomb in the air, say a mile over Honolulu. The electromagnetic pulse would fry every computer within 100 miles. Every computer within 100 miles. It would blind all of the American forces potentially out there. Now, I'm sure they're shielding for this. I'm sure they're defending against this. But this is one of the scenarios that keeps the defense planners up at night. You've got a crazy 28-year-old trying to be a bigger hero than his grandfather and unite the Korean Peninsula for the great communist vision. And you have the United States at its weakest point in 75 years with a president that you know is never going to retaliate with a nuclear bomb, even if we get hit with one. That's on his mind too, and it's on my mind today, as I think it should be on all of ours. This may be more than a bluff.